My name is Anjani B Kuumar and welcome to my channel. In Transformators today, we are going to meet Oindrila Chakraborty. Oindrila is the head of human resources for Jio Studios. She's in an extremely visible role managing a large portfolio. She is someone I know from the time she had almost started her career. And at that point in time, I had given her a lot of inputs in terms of how to plan the career, what to do, how she can become successful. And today she has achieved all that in her career, in her life. She has reached that CXO level, which everybody else dreams of. She's someone who is a certified coach. She's an NLP practitioner, and she has worked across multiple industries. She has really planned her career very well and has achieved success in everything that she has done so far. And it gives me immense pride to see her successful in her corporate journey, because long back when I had given some of those coaching inputs to her, she has actually gone back and worked on them, implemented them, and has achieved success. So let's meet Oindrila. Hi Oindrila, good to have you on the channel, and so happy that you were able to find some time to meet all the viewers and share your experiences.
I am so glad that I could be in these sessions. I have been watching all the other episodes as well. Few of them I know personally, and I know their journey as well. So it is beautiful to see them on your channel, and I am glad that I'm here as well. It's my pleasure.
Excellent, excellent. So in fact, I was just telling the viewers about your background, what you have achieved in your career. And since I know you for quite some time, I've seen all your journey. So it's so exciting to, really look back and see what you have achieved. But it'll be great, if you can just take the viewers through your journey. What are some of the things, that have really helped you in terms of, standing out and achieving what you have achieved in your career?
Yeah. Okay, I actually will go back to 2005. Actually, I can go back even before, but I'll come to that later. But 2005 was the time when I joined your team. Yeah. Very new into the corporate world. New in Bombay as well, because I have been living in different parts of the country, some bit because of my father's transferable job, and some bit because of my education. So Bombay was my corporate life. That's where I began. And 1 year of management training before I joined Sony Entertainment. That's where I met you. And my introduction to human resources, and my introduction to being in a great team which thought about future was there. So I knew just that. and when I look back from there, and then when I see the other organizations that I have been a part of, my benchmark was always high in terms of when we speak about what more human resources could do as a person, what more you can learn, what is exactly excellency, when at that point in time some part of human resources we were not able to measure them. How could we bring in those aspects? And the constant looking at the excellency part has been a part of my journey. So I actually would like to say that success for me, or the achievement, like what we call is, for me is very holistic. It is more about a person being in the growth sphere, whether it is professional or whether it's from the family aspect, but it's the whole person. So what I thought when I was 20, what success would mean to me is very different from what I think about it now. Maybe in my 20s, I thought about the milestones that I achieved, but now I just think about the impact that I create. So this is in a nutshell what my journey has been through and through corporate experience. I have actually dwelled in diverse industries. Also, thanks to you for that, because we used to have very, very interesting conversations about it. It has given me perspective. It has expanded my horizons. I have met diverse personalities, and everything has had impact on me personally, and that has been my journey.
So, I would just like to add, about a little bit about your current role, because you lead the human resources for Jio Studios,
yes.
And which is an extremely visible role, very glamorous from outside. But when you actually carry out this role, I think it'll be good to share a little bit with the viewers in terms of
yes.
what challenges you go through.
Yeah. So after, I think, a decade and a half of being in different industries, not specific to media, I came back to media.
Yeah.
Jio Studios is the content and media division of Reliance Industries. And when we talk about making Jio Studios visible, it talks about the visibility that Reliance as a group talks about. Yeah. So the ask was big from human people agenda perspective. But when I broke it down, it was very simple in terms of bringing in the culture where creativity or capabilities thrived. Yeah. And I would also like to bring in this perspective where there are agendas in terms of bringing diversity and developing or building the inclusive culture, which is actually being driven very, very strongly by my own president. Getting aligned to that, which is I'm very deeply connected with this aspect. So we've been able to build a very strong leadership, which is 75% of women representation.
That's lovely.
And being able to sustain it. So it brings in media industry. We don't really shy away from it. We have seen it back in the time when we as well worked together. But the times now also, it requires we believe in gender agnostic culture, but with high representation of women leadership, it brings its own aspects, and I think it's very clearly seen in terms of how the business is kind of growing and being visible, and the leaders are being visible.
Absolutely.
So yes, it is glamorous from the outside, but fun, I would say, from inside.
No, that's great. And in fact, I was telling viewers that, you are a NLP practitioner, a certified coach. So, it'll be great to also, understand that what role learning and coaching has played in your career, in your growth.
Big time. I have, I think the thought was planted at the foundation of my career. And I wanted to keep learning, keep upskilling. And I think I believe, now that I look back, I believe that I had the growth mindset.
Yeah.
And that's when this whole coaching programs, a lot of coaching conversations started happening. And I wanted to invest in myself. And I did professionally. I did my coaching trainings, which was a classroom training. I did my 100 hours plus of coaching, one-on-one coaching. I gave my exams, and I am a certified coach. So this is a life skill.
Yes.
And this is not going to stop. After being certified also, my learning has not stopped. I keep at it. I keep listening to different coaches and their mindset. Also, when I personally conduct coaching programs, it's a journey for myself as well in terms of how things are moving. And I think being a coach and the coaching programs have played a very important and impactful scenario in my journey as well. In fact, coaching mindset is something that I bring to table where in my current role as well as a human resource lead for Jio Studios. I speak very, very strongly about coaching, and that is something which the leaders are also talking about.
No, that's wonderful because I think this is one trend now which is catching up in India also, because people are now investing in themselves.
Yes.
Because earlier, most of the professionals would be dependent on their companies to invest in them, send them for training, coaching, and everything. But now I see a lot of people spending money,
Yes.
investing time, and trying to acquire new skill, and which is
Yes.
a very welcome trend, because invest, it was always there. But examples of people like you, and then I was talking to somebody else also who went to Columbia Business School, and spent a lot of
Wow.
money. Even your what work you
It
have
is
done, it
expensive
must be very
program.
expensive. And I know that. So yeah. So and more so, when you are working, spending so much time, right? These certifications are not easy to come by.
Yes.
Your 100 hours of coaching are those 100 hours that you have to invest.
Yes,
right?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're absolutely right, because when work happens, the time just goes by because the priorities are different.
Yeah.
It takes some focus and commitment to also focus on this and finish it. So yeah, it has been enriching, but it has been difficult as well. But I have used my platform as a HR practitioner, as a learning and development person in my organization to bring in coaching. That has helped me for my hours as well.
No, and it's so much fun. I always tell viewers also that even I've started this channel to let people know what I know, right? And reach out to a larger audience. But I also have work to do, and most of the videos that I shoot in the middle of the night. So,
right.
That's how you have to actually invest your time in some of these things. That's very important. So that's great. So moving further, since you spoke about working with me and some of the conversations that we used to have, I think it'll be great probably to let the viewers also know that how some of those conversations which we had and where we discussed about your career graph, how you would move, and how they really panned out. It'd be good to talk about that, and frankly speaking, would they really they were useful or not? That's the key question.
Of course, a lot. So sometimes, in my current organization, I have some ex-colleagues back from Sony who are working with me. And so often I actually bring this point up that maybe, I'm thinking, how would Anjani would have thought at this particular situation so often. And I'm not saying this because we are talking right now. I have discussed it with a lot of our common colleagues. And it is true. It is as if it's just very unconscious. It's in the subconscious mind that happens. And I practice it as well. In fact, the kind of conversation, the open conversations you used to have with your team, I practice it very consciously with my team. And sometimes people are surprised to even say that I am not even believing that I'm having such open conversations with them about their future plans, sometimes job offers, sometimes what they want to do and how they have missed on a particular target and how it is not something that has to be penalized. So the freedom to take on a responsible decision making, all this has been a practice that has happened with me. I have personally experienced it. I would like to also talk about this conversation that used to tell me because I was at the foundation of my career, and for me the experience was only of media industry. You had told me that I must look at other industries, and it did have a very important impact in my life, in my career choices that I made. So after Sony, I moved to a very different industry. It was a specialty chemicals industry. I got excited with the role because it spoke about mergers, acquisition. It spoke about setting up of system. It spoke about greenfield projects. So here, a month ago, I was talking about KBCs and IPL. That's the language I spoke. And cut to, in this new company, I was talking about periodic tables and auto catalysts.
Yes.
But it didn't really matter because that was again a learning phase for me.
Yeah.
The kind of learning that this shift gave me actually broadened my perspective, because even the capabilities were very different. The kind of people who we had hired or we were speaking to in the media industry were very, very different from the people who came with a business mindset of dealing with the specialty chemicals products, or who were talking about greenfield projects, how to build a plant. So that was a very, very important turning point in my life. That was one thing. Then the second one was, again, you spoke a lot on visibility.
Yes.
Visibility, now we call it executive presence, but back then we would talk about being visible. Now, being visible doesn't really mean, I remember very, very clearly, you used to tell us that it doesn't mean that you go into the meeting and sit there. It means that you go into the meeting and talk about those three important points that actually creates an impact to the business, or even to that particular meeting and the outcome of it. So this is something that I kind of have practiced very consciously. I have also actually done a lot of coaching programs around it.
Okay.
So it's become my pet project. So I do a lot of conversations around it. Sometimes have been able to include it in my own visibility at corporate world. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it is not. But it's there's no 10 things to do which will give you success. It's a constant evolving aspect of it. So these conversations have been very, very beneficial. I remember them so clearly. I remember the culture that you had created in your team, and I like to ape it.
No, that's great to hear that. And just to tell the viewers that obviously, I've seen you, from your very early days, and to see what you have achieved today, it gives me immense sense of pride, to see, people like you achieve everything in life. No, this is a great example, and moving forward, just on the same lines. So one thing, you would also remember that I always talk about, being ambitious, building that ambition. And these days, obviously, because people don't understand ambition per se, the way it is, mentioned. So I tell people that, you should target to earn 8-figure salary, because, that's one thing. So, in your journey, when, you have reached the level of CXO and have achieved a lot, what role ambition has played, because if you have to probably, guide some of the, viewers, who want to achieve that level, that kind of a salary, what role ambition plays in that, and probably, what role even a coach, who can support this whole process plays, because being a coach yourself, nobody better than you who can explain this phenomenon.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me start by talking about ambitious. Yes, there are a lot of times. I think in a lot of assessments, ambition became a very important aspect that came out in my assessments throughout. Whether it was in my MBA times, or whether it was in my first few years in my corporate life. But at that point in time, I didn't really understand what it meant. People said I was ambitious. For me, I was still exploring. I think what happened with me was I was driven by the challenges or the kind of impactful roles that came to me. And then the salary part came in terms of the valuation of that particular role. I would say that right at the beginning, it was difficult for me to talk about salary. But as and when I kind of grew, became a coach myself, dealt with such conversations, I really think that it is important to be aware of your value.
Yes.
your market value.
Yes.
Whether one does benchmarking, whether one does role, comparisons, peer comparisons, I would not say so much because that somewhere gets a little diluted. But it is important for people to be aware in terms of what their market value is.
Yes.
And logical. Be true to yourself. We don't have to prove it to others. Be true to yourself. And basis that, have a conversation with your current employers, future employers, or even if you're an entrepreneur. Absolutely. Start from there. That is what I have kind of understood, I have seen, and this is something that gets talked about a lot during few of my coaching programs as well. I have been also able to do it to some extent. It's important to do that. So that is something that one person should keep in mind. The second thing is, again, about how does one... we need to have a very clear goal. Okay, because वो बोलते हैं ना कि one will reach the end point, however, but it's the time taken to reach there.
Yes.
If someone knows in terms of the goal is this, and these are the steps that I need to take by planning it right, by implementing, staying committed to it, then it is faster. And a lot can be achieved by doing that. So it's very important to set goals, personally and professionally.
Yeah, because if you don't know your destination, how will you start the journey? So.
Yes, absolutely. And eventually one will reach there.
Yes.
But it may take time.
Yeah.
So this is something, these are the two things that I think played a very important role in me going from A to B.
Yes.
And I think people should also start thinking in these lines.
No, that's really great, because what also happens is, and what I have seen a lot of people doing these days is, one, obviously, as you rightly said, that the clear goalpost has not been defined and people just keep moving, every day. And ultimately, what happens is that in the corporate world, you get so busy with routine that, it's at times, later on you will feel that you are just stuck, you're trapped in this whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. And then I use the term, a slave of routine. So that's what happens, right? Yeah. So you don't know how your days are going. So unless you have clarity around what you want to achieve, and that could be in terms of, a level, in terms of salary, everything, right?
Everything.
Because ultimately, the reality which all of us know, that money solves a lot of problems for us, right? And there's no harm in having more money.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's very important. The second thing also happens is that, as you rightly said, that while you've set the goal, but it takes time. It's not that tomorrow you will achieve there. Right?
Yes. So, be realistic about it.
Absolutely. So when we talk about 8-figure salary will take 8 years, 10 years, but then, if you have clarity in your mind, you will keep moving towards that.
Yes.
That's very important.
I would also like to say that one doesn't have to be hard on themselves to bring in clarity. They can ask for help.
Yes. Yes.
Whether they're peers, whether they're mentors, they could be mentors at different levels. They're professors, they're senior colleagues, anyone, but ask for help. Even if, one doesn't have to be hard on themselves to achieve that particular goal and fit into those roles.
And you're not supposed to know everything, right?
Yes.
go to people who are experts at that, and they'll tell you how to do it, right?
Yes.
So that's that's the reason, and again, since you are a certified coach, that's the core role that you play. That you show them, you show people the direction, you show them what they don't know.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
Because if you don't know what you don't know, that's a very dangerous situation to be in.
Yeah, I know. In the coaching world, we call it what you don't know, you don't know. So it's just out of the window.
so excellent. So I think, just to conclude, since, from perspective of viewers, if you have to list down, probably 3 core learnings from your journey, what the budding corporate professionals should focus on, and what would give them success, what could be those 3 things?
Okay, so get a mentor at each phase of your career. the mentor that was there in your first few years of your corporate journey may not be the mentor at a mid management level or at a senior level. Um, I would say believe in the power of collective.
Yes. Yes.
I really think that my journey has been enriching because of the collective and the kind of colleagues I met, the kind of friends I made, the mentors that I had, the bosses that I had.
Yeah.
So believe in the power of collective, and don't let the fire around you dim the fire in you.
Excellent. Excellent.
So keep the fire alive.
Yeah, because in the corporate world, there would always be fire around you.
Yeah,
True. Never be in a situation where you'll be comfortable.
Yes. If you're comfortable, there's something that you're missing.
Absolutely. No, I've seen, and I'll tell you from my experience also, because there are a lot of people I meet and whom I've coached in the past. Some of them obviously are extremely successful, but they were brilliant people who could have done so well. But just because they got overwhelmed by what happens around in the corporate world, that somewhere they could not push themselves further, and they just settled for mediocrity or something which is okay but not great, right?
Yes.
And that's where it's very important that if they had probably a mentor or a coach at that point in time, there's so much more that people can achieve, because all of us have unlimited potential. And
yes, that's the base where every coach starts from.
Yes. Great. So great, Oindrila, this was a very, very exciting conversation, and I think viewers would have picked up a lot of elements from your journey, and it's they would have definitely got inspired by what you have been able to achieve. And thank you for spending time and sharing these small tips and some nuggets from your corporate life.
I am just talking about what my journey has been, starting from under your guidance to what I could take. Thank you for having me in your in this conversation in your channel, and I really hope that I have been able to give out some message to someone listening out there, and someone's life will be impacted.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So I'm sure you would have enjoyed this conversation with Oindrila, and you would have seen how she really planned out her career, how she really worked on every input that was given to her at the beginning of career, and worked out each step, working through multiple industries, and finally being able to achieve the CXO level and being in an extremely big, large corporate role, earning a salary commensurate to that position. And you would have also figured out that by following some of the inputs that she gave, how you can also make your corporate journey meaningful. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with family and friends so that they also get benefited by that. And if you have any suggestions, any comments, put them in the comment section. I'll answer them. And now I'll see you in the next video. Till then, thank you very much for watching.